We have a very special guest in studio today. He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, a brown belt in judo, the great and powerful Chaz Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to get you in here
Yeah.
and kind of get to know you. Just, I've seen you around at a lot of events and, seen you compete a handful of times now. And just, cool to get, have an opportunity to get to know who you are.
Absolutely.
Especially after that last CXBJJ, we had Adam on and he was singing your praises and all that and pumping you up. I'm like, well, fuck, I can't wait to watch him go.
Yeah, it was a great match.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was, I watched that. That was the first episode of you guys that I watched because I was like, all right, what Adam say about me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I got to see. And then like, I'm somebody that when I compete, I think everybody's kind of this way to an extent of like getting in their head. And so like, I'm sitting here and then like obviously like Adam's never rolled with me. So he doesn't know what my skill set is or anything like that. You guys don't know me. And you guys know Colin really well. So like I'm sitting here and Adam's like, man, Colin just does what he wants with me. And then you're like, man, Colin's really good. And I'm sitting here listening. It's like, Colin's gonna fuck me up. Yeah. and then I so I was kind of in my head. I'm like, man, he's really good. I rolled Colin like back when we were purple belts over at Hit Squad, and so that's why I took the match just because like it was such a fun roll. And I remember I was like, man, he was really back and forth. It was good. So that's why I took it, and I was like, yeah, like this should be
was still that way,
And it was. And
great.
so I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and take it. And I talked to JW and he's like, yeah, it's a good matchup for you. And so I was like, I know he's more primarily like a no-gi guy where I'm more of like a gi guy. So I was like, I have a little bit of that advantage. But I was like, he's no slouch, not gonna even think of it like that. So yeah, it was definitely fun. But yeah, I was listening to the show and then Adam was saying he's like, Chad's super easy to work with, which I don't need much. I'm very accommodating to whatever the promoter needs. Like I'm not gonna make any stupid requests or anything like that. But yeah.
I mean, like I just have never trained. I didn't have anything to say. I'm like, oh yeah, and I've seen him compete like one other time maybe on because you did another CXBJJ or was that the first one?
I did the first one. Yeah, and it kind of sucked because like literally the Monday before the event, my opponent pulled out. And I was like literally about to walk onto the mats to teach our Monday day class, and I got the message. And I'm like literally about to walk out, like line everybody up. And I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And he's like, I'm trying to get you a replacement, blah, blah, blah. And the only person they could find me was Jackson McVeigh. And so 40 pounds heavier than me. And I'm like, if that's the only guy you got, I'm like, I'll do it. But it is what it is. Like I've sold the tickets. I'm not going to pull out now. And then, all the people that I've sold tickets are like,
yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, go ahead. And so I still think like, put on a good show with him. I got triangled in like the last minute. And so it's like, it was just one of those things I got tired. Like in that last minute, I was like, I need to do something. And I was just like, he's so long and he was like off balance, shot the triangle. And I'm like, I'm dead. Like he's 6'2", I'm dead. So, but I still felt like, for that, it was fun. So I was happy to do it again and, go against somebody like Colin.
Were you a black belt at the time you did that fight?
Brown belt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that CXBJJ is just such a fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
Such a fun. It's like the coolest jiu-jitsu event here locally, I think.
Yeah. The only thing that I hated about that night was that was the first time that they did it, and all the cars got broken into, including mine.
Really?
Yep. So literally, what was funny, not funny, the exact amount of money that I made from ticket sales covered my window. It's like I competed for free, and so that kind of sucked because I was like, oh man, this really sucks. So. Yeah, that's St. Louis for you. Yeah. Unfortunately. And thankfully this time it didn't happen.
I don't think it's happened since.
No.
That very first event, I remember there was like 20 people that got their cars broken into.
Like it was me. I was parked next to Jordan Dowdy. Kyle Watson was parked like right behind me, and we all got our cars got hit. And I'm like, well, this sucks. Saying I don't keep anything in my car. Yeah. So like everyone's like, oh, did anything? So I'm like, I don't keep anything in there. I'm like, I'm just mad my window's broke.
Right. Yeah, now I gotta deal with a broken window and drive around with a trash bag covering it until I get
literally.
it fixed.
and that so the day I went to go get it fixed, I had a private lesson in Edwardsville. I was going to South St. Louis to get it fixed, and I had to have a trash bag, but it was just pissing rain. And then on top of that, one of my windshield wipers, and then one of my windshield wipers like came unscrewed somehow, and then I only have one windshield wiper work, so I'm driving like
Ace Ventura sticking your head out the window.
Yeah, and I'm like just getting pelted with rain. By the time I got there, I'm so pissed. I'm like, I hate this day. So it was funny though. So yeah.
So how'd you get started with martial arts?
Man, so like I don't know, I always was interested in MMA, and so like when I was in high school, I went to a gym that eventually I cannot let me think of the name of it. but they merged with SCMMA eventually. Man, I cannot think of the name. Went there a few times, loved it, but I was still like 16, 17 years old, and they were doing, this was back when like gyms were doing contracts, and where like most gyms don't do that anymore. And my dad's like, I'm not signing for you to go do MMA, get hurt, and then you're paying for something that you can't even do. So I understood. So after high school, I was like, I want to do it still. And I had a classmate that was like all just singing JW's praises. I'm like, screw it, I'll go try it. So walked in one day. I actually pulled into the parking lot, and I'm very introverted, so like littlest things would kind of put me off sometimes, especially back then. And I saw this guy walk in with a gi. And I thought to myself, like, shit, am I supposed to have one of those before I walk in here? And then I had to tell myself, like, no, stupid, you're brand new. Like, at least walk in, get information, and go from there. And just never stopped showing up after that. Walked in, met JW, and it was totally different from the gym that I'd gone to before, where before it was like go in there and you're not really learning a ton. You're just getting your ass kicked round after round. Like, hey man, good job. I'm like, dude, my freaking shoulder's dislocated. Like, what do you mean good job? Where when I went to JW's, it was like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't put your hand here, try to do this. And I'm like, oh, these people actually care about me getting better. So that's kind of like JW's mantra is like good people, great jujitsu. And it shows. Every time that I came back, it was like everybody's trying to help you and not just kick your ass and send you on your way. So yeah, that's kind of how I started and just never stopped showing up.
And when was this?
This was 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for a long
For
time.
a long time. Yep. My body feels it every day. Yeah.
Did you start with jujitsu, or you started with jujitsu and then eventually kind of got into judo, or how did that?
Yeah. So,
and where do you train judo at?
so I did. So, JW does have a Thursday night class there where, Blair Watts teaches, and he's a great black belt. I've recently kind of switched under Scott Alkilbers, who's another Gracie Might affiliate up in Quincy, mainly because, as you guys know in this world, like fancy pieces of paper show like, hey, you're legit, you know what you're talking about, where Scott can kind of put me under USA Judo and like legitimately belt me. So that was kind of recent. I just got to kind of go up there. But yeah, so I did jiu-jitsu for a long time, didn't even think about doing judo, and then just one day it was like, screw it, I can't wrestle for shit, and so I might as well have another avenue to take down. So I started doing judo, fell in love with it, love it ever since. And then now recently, like falling back in love with wrestling, and then how do I blend everything together is kind of like what I've been focusing on the last like month or two. So yeah, so judo came way later though.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that yesterday we had Josh McKinney in here yesterday, and we just did another one with him, and he, we were just talking about how grapple, it's, we say we do jujitsu, but it's like we're doing a lot more than if you just look at jujitsu.
Yeah.
Like we're doing implementing a lot of wrestling, a lot of judo, a lot of other like a lot of the leg locks came from like sambo and shit like that. So it's like we're not just doing jujitsu. I mean, that's what we call it, but like really, it could be called just like fucking grappling. Because it's just like everything kind of blended together. If you just have jujitsu and you have no ability from the feet, or you don't, you're incomplete. You're just going to be a big hole in your game.
Well, it's like that. Who the content creator was it? HPU or HPU?
Oh, Josh Saunders. Yeah, HPU coaching.
Yeah, and because he was talking about it, he's like, especially with guys that are competing, like if you want to be a good competitor and you want to make it to being a black belt, you can't just do jujitsu.
No.
You have to learn judo. You have to learn wrestling. You have and it's the combination of those three,
right,
that's gonna make that really propels you and makes you good at this.
Yeah, and you start looking at who are the top guys like in the world right now that are killing it. You look at like Tynan Dalpra, who is really learning a lot of judo lately. Fabricio Andre, one of the smaller guys, but like he puts his wrestling with his judo and his jiu-jitsu, and it's like these are, and Mika Galvao is another one that has that style. So it's like these are the top guys that are just putting it all together. But it's not you're not just looking at like, oh, he's doing judo here, he's doing wrestling here, he's doing jiu-jitsu here. It's all blended together.
Yeah,
and it's so smooth.
Start with judo to get him to the ground, and then
when you hit the ground, it's different. Then we're in front headlock, and I'm using a lot of wrestling stuff.
Well, like I was Monday, I was taking some time at the gym to just kind of study Fabricio Andre, and he's like getting to a single leg so he can get to an underhook so he can throw you. And it's like he could have just used a single leg to wrestle you down, but he's using it to get to a better position to where he can get to a better position on the ground.
Mm.
So, and that's like
He's landing with an underhook.
Correct. And he's like, oh, I'm in side control underhook, and now I'm in a great position, especially for like ADCC rules. Like now he's up 4 points or whatever it is. So yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever competed ADCC?
No, haven't had to. I'm not a huge nogi person. Lately, I'm starting to find my way back to it a little bit, but not a huge nogi person. I've always been in love with the gi.
Yeah, that's something over the last year I've really I've always trained in the gi, but like over the last years is when I've really like fallen in love with the gi.
Yeah.
Like I've been training for 7 years now, and I always trained in the gi, but like I always said, like my gi game and my no gi game were very, very similar. Like I did all the stuff that I did in the gi was basically the same shit I would do no gi.
Yeah.
Whereas this past year, I've definitely strayed away from that. And in the gi, especially particularly for my guard, I'm completely different than when I'm doing no gi. Just because I'm like, well, these lapels are here. Like, let's use them.
Let's use them.
They're here. They're going to use them on me.
Yeah.
So like, why am I trying to be this like purist that all my shit works both gi and no gi? It's like, I don't need to, like, it's fun. And it gave me kind of another avenue to kind of go down. It's like, oh wow. Like I've never fucked with any of this. Like, I've been playing tarantula guard the last year, and that's been like was one of our black belts. He was fucking me up with it for probably about a year, and I've been one of his like main training partners for the most part in the day's classes. And I'm like, all right, I just need to, because him and I are about the same like build. We're both like the same. And so I'm like, if it's working for him, it should work for me, And I was like, well, okay, and so that's literally all I've done pretty much this whole past year was like, all right, I'm starting every round I can from the bottom. I'm going to get to this guard and I'm going to play with it.
Yeah.
And, for the first 6 months I did it, like I was just getting just my doors blown off every time, and then, but now like I feel pretty competent there. I can hold someone there for a while. Like, most of my submissions lately over the last year, if I had to tally it all up, which is impossible to do, but I would say a huge portion of my, of subs that I get in training, live training are coming from my back, which is like, fuck, I've never been able to do that before.
Yeah.
Like I'm a short guy. I shouldn't be good at triangles, but like, hey, it's working for me,
Yeah.
Like,
And that's the thing is like, there's different ways to, people be like with short legs or like, I can't triangle nobody. I'm like, no, you can. You have to find the way that works for you. And that's kind of how I teach people. I'm like, I have decently longer legs, but if I go up against a guy that's big, broad shoulders,
on him, you're gonna have a hard time triangling him.
Right,
he's so big.
Traditionally, but then there's also ways where I can kind of change the angle and change the triangle a little bit to make it work, and then I don't care how big your shoulders are anymore. But if you don't know it, then it's not gonna work.
Cutting that angle in the triangle is huge. Hooking the knee and just and basically like getting perpendicular with them.
Right.
I think there was a John Donaher video on YouTube that I watched a while ago, and it was when I was first getting started and like playing all these triangles and stuff. It was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. Like,
that's what's cool about like watching Remington roll. I mean, that dude loves the triangle.
Oh, dude, Buddy Remington, he's a architect. He's been on the show a bunch of times. Just got his brown belt recently.
Nice.
He's a guard player.
He's as tall as I am, but he's about 180 pounds. So like, and just his legs are extremely long,
and he's crazy flexible.
And
like he can like do the butterfly position and like touch both of his knees on the ground. Like I can't do that.
No, I can't do that. I can't get a quarter of the way there.
He can do the thing where like he's on his knees and like basically like leans all the way back and touches his head to the floor. Like I can't do that.
Nope, there goes my knees.
One of my best friends, Dennis Williams, like he's probably 6'1", 6'2", stupid tall but skinny. So everybody he fights in his division at like 145 are stupid short. So he can triangle them from, no matter if they're posturing standing all the way up, like he's still catching his legs up there. And so like training with him for the last 13 years, like I've gotten used to where the triangle's coming from. So anytime he cocks his hips one way or the other, I'm like, oh, here comes the triangle. Like get your elbows inside. And then so like now he teaches down at Gracie Mighty Eureka. So like his students will come to me like, I stopped Dennis's triangles. I'm like, oh, come here. Let's show you. So every time I come down, they're like, can you show us how to pass Dennis's guard again? I'm like, yeah, come here. So it's always fun. It's always good to have those training partners that can prepare you like in that way of like, man, if you're always getting triangled in competition and it's because you don't have partners that do that to you, like it's gonna be really tough to like get better at it. But when you have training partners with certain builds and skill sets, and then you kind of feel ready for whatever comes your way. Yeah.
Well, and how long have you been coaching now?
So I started back about 3 years. 3 years in, I think I started in May. Yeah, so roughly about 3 years, almost 4 years now. Yeah.
You feel like you've gotten better at jiu-jitsu since you've been coaching?
100%. You don't realize how much you have to break a move down to teach it and then be ready for all the questions that come with it. Like I was last night, for instance, I was teaching like Edward Wodzinski's like sit up guard foot sweep stuff, and the amount of questions that I had off of it, which like I watched the instructional, and there's things that people are asking that he doesn't cover, but like as a black belt, you kind of just know like how to answer it. And I was like, man, like everybody's hands were going up, asking questions and stuff. I'm like, did I just not explain it well enough? But then they were like, they are good questions.
Well, and you teach it this way now, but like I bet if 6 months or a year from now you revisit this, you're gonna teach it probably a little bit different.
And honestly, that's I teach the fundamentals on Mondays. So like it's very basic stuff. Like here's the position, here's the scissor sweep, here's an arm bar. Like, and I'm not showing like all these complex ways to get to it. I'm just showing you like for the beginners, like this is what this is. This is an arm bar, this is the guard, like very easy basic stuff. But then if like maybe it's a class where it's like more blue belts and stuff, I'll change it. I'm like, okay, here's a different way on how to do this. And they appreciate that more because then they're not getting bored. They're like, oh, yep, I've seen this a million times on the basic way to do a scissor sweep. It's like, no, let me show you different angles that you can take and setups to do it, which, they appreciate. But then, if it's lower belts, it's like, all right, let's just make this easy. You gotta look at the audience and how you teach it.
That too. And then just as you start doing it more and more in competitions and you're going to learn what's going to be most effective for you to land that, or to make that work
for sure.
And then now you're like, all right, well, here, this is something that just happened with me. Now I'm going to transition and be able to teach it better.
So 100%.
We had Josh on there, and I don't know if you watch Josh's podcast at all, but
sometimes,
he does
not too much, but sometimes
he does the hot takes. And so that was one of we came up with our own hot takes for him, and one of them was like, you can't be a competitive blue belt or black belt competitor
and be a
full-time coach.
It's so hard.
I'm sure
it's so hard. Like, what I have found over the last few months, like getting ready for CXBJJ was like, I had to take time away from the students and like be more selfish with my training and like only grab certain people, and not like, help them. And I hate doing that. Like the 2 months preparation up for it, I was like, man, I hate this. I'm like, because there's white belts over there that really need my help right now, and I have to get ready. I don't have a choice. I have to get like the way I prepare for like one match like CXBJJ versus a tournament is two totally different training styles. Like for a tournament, it's how many rounds can I just get in versus like for one match, it's like, hey, it's 7 minutes. Let me get the quality rolls and the looks that I need. So like I knew Colin was very like heavy pressure passing, which he showed it. He showed it in that first minute when I screwed up. That like those were the people I was trying to roll with. Is like, who are the ones that aren't like the outside quick fast passing? Because that's not what he's going to do. And I knew this. So it's like, let me get the guys that are going to try to knee cut me, that are going to try to smash past me. And those were the rounds that I was getting. So yeah, I mean, but back to like what you were saying about, do I feel that coaching has helped like for competing? Absolutely. But kind of like what you guys were talking about, it's hard to be, you're either a full-time coach or a full-time competitor. And it's hard to switch between the two because it's like, thankfully, like we have the owner of Gracie Mat Edwardsville, Joey Walters, like he kind of picks up the slack where when I'm getting ready for something, then if he wants to get ready for something, then I pick up the slack, like helping the students. So we have like that dynamic that works really well. But the whole time, like, man, I can't wait to get back to just focusing on coaching and just helping these guys. So yeah.
Yeah. I kind of always feel that way. Like after I do a competition, it's always just this like, oh, I can just go to the gym today and just train and not worry about like, because anytime you're getting ready for a comp, like there's always that like looming pressure that day's coming.
Yep.
And you're just kind of counting the days down. And you're like, okay, all right, well, in
10
days, I got to go out there and, whether it's a tournament or whether it's a single match, it's like, okay, it's the day. But then after it, you're like, oh, I can just be normal again.
Dude, my stress level the next day, I woke up and I was like, oh, I don't have to think about it anymore.
Oh, bro, the stress level the second the match is over. Like, at CXPJJ, the second I walked down the steps and like got to see all the people that were, there, I'm like, oh, I can just be.
I'm good.
I can go to the gym on Monday and just just
have
roll.
fun.
I can roll with whoever.
I don't care anymore. Yeah, absolutely. And that's like we were talking about a little bit earlier. It was like the stress of it and leading up to it, and getting in your head about it. Like, that was the big thing with me. Was like I kept overthinking it, and I knew it was gonna be fine. And it was like I was driving home from Midwest Jiu-Jitsu with Scott Alkilbers, and I finally just had this like thing click in my brain, like, just go out there and have fun, stupid. Why are you stressing over this so much? And it was literally the week before, and I just kind of told myself in the car, I was like, no matter what happens, you're going to walk out there with a smile on your face, you're going to have fun doing what you love, and then you're going to walk off, win or lose, with a smile on your face. And that's what I did. So like the day of, I slept like crap that night, but I was ready to go out there. I was ready to have fun. And like as they were announcing my name, I just kept saying it out loud, and probably the people that were kind of back there waiting, were looking at me like I was crazy, but I kept saying to myself, let's go have some fun. Let's go have some fun. And then by the time I got out there, like I was pumped. I was ready to go. Then there was no nerves. And it helps when you have like such a cool opponent like Colin that's also giving you that same energy, but it's not like the I hate you. I'm gonna fuck you up energy. Like it was like, hey, we want to win.
Got respect for each other,
right? Yeah. And that's what he told me afterwards. He's like, man, I had so much respect for you. I was like, buddy, you too. I'm like, I followed your whole MMA career. Like you were a stud, and just praise off of one another. We talked beforehand, which kind of helped too. But yeah, it was definitely like fun, energy, good, fun match, and that's all I could ask for. I was like, I just don't want to go out there and get subbed in 30 seconds. And
that's the only thing. Yeah. That's like the worst thing that can happen is you go out and you get subbed quickly and embarrassingly like, wow.
Yeah. And it was like, I knew right off the bat, I was like, if he starts knee cutting me, I'm going to be in a bad spot. And then he did. And then as it was happening, I'm like, this was the place you told yourself you weren't going to get to. I was like, son of a bitch. And then, so, yeah, I mean, it was a good match. Like I was definitely behind positionally and I knew that. And then when I was, he had me mount for like a minute and a half. And the problem was he had my wrist was just up against my forehead and he's just driving pressure into it. I'm like, dude, this sucks. Like this hurts actually.
I've been there.
Yeah. And the next day I text him, I go, you motherfucker, I have a bruise on my forehead from you. And so, but I remember like, being underneath. And at one point, like he wasn't doing a whole lot. I'm just kind of like, come on, Colin, like try to do something so I can get out of here. And, I don't know what happened. It just kind of flashed through my head. Like my son went through my head and I'm like, he's watching you right now. You need to get the fuck out of here. Mm-hmm. And so eventually I was like, kind of started to give my arm, just pushed him off. I'm like, okay, now it's go time. Now I've got a minute left. Like I got to make something happen. So yeah, it was like, just for some reason, like my kid flashed through my head. I'm like, you gotta get out of here, dude. Like quit fucking laying here. You can't die down here. Yeah. So, it was good. One of those things, like the students came up to me afterwards and like, you show that, that you're not going to quit. That was the big thing for me. It was like, don't fucking quit down here. You can get out of here. Don't quit. So
yeah. Probably been in worse spots.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And having your kid there, kid as motivation. Like I remember I experienced that at the last St. Louis Open. Like my kid came and he was there for like one of my matches. And I remember like, it was, probably a minute or two left in the match. And I remember like being able to, I could just kind of like look at my periphery and I see his little face in between the fence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I got to get the fuck out of here, and I ended up, winning that one. And
nice.
It was, but I just remember that like boost of motivation. I was like, oh yeah, fuck, he's right there. I got to fucking show him his dad's not a quitter.
Yeah, it was a flash. I was like, dude, you got to get out of here. So then I was like, come on. I was like trying to give him like the Americana. And I was like, all right, you got to get out of here. And so kids are a big motivating factor for sure. Like there's a meme that goes around. It is kind of funny. It's like, when you hear your opponent's kid go, Daddy, you got to get out. It's like, no, sorry, Daddy's going to get fucked up.
Sorry.
So it's like that. There's the other side of that too. Like,
for sure.
So
absolutely.
It's too funny.
And we'll get to the kids here in just a second, but I wanted to touch, but like when you're training for stuff like that, or are you training to your strengths or are you training to their weaknesses?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm training to not get put into their strengths. Okay. So, like Joey, he's second degree black belt. Like he's an absolute monster, and like, he's a small guy, but he's so fast. And like I remember rolling with him as he was helping me get ready, and I was like, I just need you to knee cut me, and he was just blowing past my guard. I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. Like I'm fucked for this. But then I was like, okay, take that, learn from it, and then just try not to get put there. So I was more training for like my strengths and like what can I do to him. So like the problem is when, getting in your head, when you have so much time, you think about the match over and over and over and what ways can I win? And it usually never goes the way you ever
you picture it. I always have like a video I play in my head of like my ideal, situation.
Yeah.
And it never goes that way.
And it never went that way. Nope. I was like, okay, I'm going to get to my guard. I'm going to get to this. And then I'm going to submit him within 30 seconds. And if that doesn't work, I'll get underneath and I'll toe hold. If that doesn't work, I'm going to try to fill it. I'm like, none of that shit ever happened. Not even close.
What is it? Everybody can have a game plan until they're punched in the face.
Yeah, everybody's got
100%. Yeah. And so, I mean, definitely trying to play more to my strengths because I was playing like a newer guard, which JW calls raccoon guard, which is like a collar sleeve or a cross sleeve and then like on the tricep. And that's where I got to.
Call that shotgun guard.
Yeah, you can call it shotgun. Like he like when you pull it across, then he changes the name of it, but it's whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, everybody's got names for jujitsu
Raccoon
moves.
guard.
Raccoon guard.
There's just so many like stupid ones like that.
And so me and him had done a private lesson a couple weeks before because I was like, these are kind of the things that are happening. So there was a couple moments in the match of like when I swept him and he popped right back up and I shot the triangle, like that was because my foot was underneath his butt and I could hear JW go elevate, elevate. And I was like, oh yeah, stupid, do the sweep you worked 2 weeks ago. Swept him. I knew he was gonna pop back up. I'm like, I'm not gonna scramble, but at least I know I can shoot a submission, and then it ended up worse for me. But yeah, so trying to play those strengths, and then when I finally did get out of mount, I went to the guard I wanted to, went for the arm bar that I wanted, and he told me the next day, he's like, my arm's fucking hurting because of that.
You told us that after the fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that's what I don't think a lot of people saw was like, that was the arm bar I've been hitting all the students with. And they were sick of me hitting it on them. And I'm like, all right, guys. So we did like an instructor showcase for me. Joey and Dennis like showed me. It was like, I'm going to show you what I've been fucking you guys up with for the last 2 months. So then they understood like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, that's it.
That's cool. I like the instructor showcase idea.
It's fun. We do it every year, and it's just like we just kind of show something that we don't normally teach, just to give them like just different looks and insights. Yeah,
that's like something. Well, Kyle will you if you roll with Kyle, like if I roll with him today, he's fucking me up with the shit that he's gonna be teaching us in like 4 months from now. You know, so it's like he's like perfecting it, pressure it, figuring out all the ways that it can go wrong, and then
I remember it's been a long time since I rolled with Kyle. And but I remember the last time I did, he kept putting me in half guard to John Wayne sweep. And it was just over and over. And I'm like, stop doing this. I was getting annoyed. I was like, all right, don't go into his half guard. I'm like, he's going to my half guard anyway. Yeah. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, he's man, Kyle's a wizard. He's just has such a wealth of knowledge. Yeah. You know, he's been because I didn't always train underneath him. I at I trained at Finney's for 2 years, or about a year and a half before I moved over to Kyle's. They caught me in the contract, basically what you said at the beginning. I then when COVID happened, that's when basically, right before COVID, the black belt that was there left, and they got a new guy, and then all the color belts just seemed to kind of dissipate. And all of a sudden I remember looking around one day, and there was like a blue belt in the class, and we used to lined up by rank. And I remember I was like second or third from the end, and I was like, man, I've only been doing this like a year. I shouldn't be this, I'm like, far down the line. I'm like, I think I realized I'm at the wrong spot. And then I found out where everybody else went. And that's where I ended up going to Kyle's. And that was like revolutionary, because I was like, oh, you can teach jujitsu a completely different way, than what, because Finney's was cool. Like I've heard this, you can do a lot of, you can get better or you can work hard, and we did a lot of working hard. It was just it was just like a very like open mat style. Like, we do, warm-ups, and then we'd teach something for, 15, 20 minutes. It'd be like 2 different moves. Yeah. And then, all right, now
beat the hell out of each other.
And now, set the timer and just let it roll for an hour. And if you want to stick around to the end, you can. If you want to leave at any point, just, dip out. Yeah. And, so we got a lot of like hard training in, but like I didn't feel like I didn't learn that much. When I went to Kyle's, it was very structured. It's a lot more structured. Like he's got like the whole year pretty much planned out. Yeah. Like it's like a curriculum. Yeah. And like everything, like the stuff that we did last, like for example, like right now, we just started a half guard series this week, but the last like month we've been working on attacks from mount. Yeah. And so like we're working on sweeps from half guard that you can get right to mount. And so it's like it just everything it links. Yeah, it links together, and it just like makes so much sense. Like it's just such a much more efficient way to teach, and it just makes a lot more sense to me. Now, do we have as many hard rounds like in class? No, not necessarily, but like if you want to hang out after class, or usually there's an open mat like right after it, or there's Kyle's gym is so big, if you and 3 guys want to go upstairs and roll for an hour, you can. Go for it. Go for it. Go beat the hell out of each other. Yeah. And it's been a big game. It was a big game changer for me. Yeah. What has there been a point? Because I can think of one time since I've been training jiu-jitsu where like I felt like I didn't know it at the time, but like looking back on it, this was like a big level up moment for me. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything like that for you? Like, was it when you started teaching, or was there just like a point in your jiu-jitsu journey that you remember seeing like a big leap in your game?
Well, when I was white belt, blue belt, I had what kind of stopped me from doing MMA was like I had a herniated disc. And so like I couldn't do any MMA training like at all. It was just so hard. I was like, I'm crippled the next day. I can barely walk. once I finally took care of that and stopped being, an egomaniac about like, hey, don't,
It's okay
like,
to tap.
yeah, well, it's not that it's okay to tap. Like, hey, stupid, like you can barely stand up straight. Like, go get your back fixed and take time off jujitsu for a month. Once that happened, I was like, oh my God, I can bridge. Like, whereas before, if I'm stuck in mount, I'm like, I got a hip escape and I can't bridge. But once I got that fixed, it was like, I felt blue belt was the belt that I played like the most guards at and kind of experimented with kind of everything. Purple belt, I don't know. I felt like I was just kind of like going through the motions a lot of the times. And I think purple belt for me just wasn't the most fun belt. And I really don't know why. But then brown belt, when I started teaching, I started studying more, started like watching the higher level guys. I think is kind of when like things were like the little details were clicking a lot for sure. And then at black belt, I'm just revisiting everything again of all the like tiny little details and positions. So they say that the black belt is like the true beginning, and it's true. It's not until you get there to where you're like, oh, I don't know.
He's
shit.
right. They were right.
Yeah,
Fuck.
they were right. Damn it.
I'm like, bullshit. It started. You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like especially now as a teacher, it's so funny to watch these students come to me because it's been happening a lot where they're like, I feel like I'm stuck, and it's like, man, I remember being a blue belt feeling that way of like I'm hitting these barriers and it's like I'd do like one private lesson or I'd go and watch instructional and like I'd learn a couple new moves and then things start clicking again. So I think when you have those like epiphany moments throughout your jiu-jitsu career is what boost you up to the next level, and then you're going to hit another wall, and it's going to happen. I feel the longer that you train, the less of those that you hit because you know how to figure it out faster. Whereas like in the beginning, you're like, I don't have the tools in the toolbox and I don't know where to find them. Whereas like when you get to purple, brown, black, you're like, okay, where the hell did I put that damn tool? I know I have it. I just need to go find it again. And I think it's the best way to look
It's a
at
good
it.
analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely kind of went through one of those moments, like when I first started, like this past year, when, like I said, when I started, playing off my back a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was very stagnant in like my stuff. Like I've been doing the same shit for so long. Like, let me just fucking completely uproot all the shit I'm good at and start something that like I'm definitely not good at.
Yeah.
So like, but focus on it for a year and you can get pretty good. I mean, you
Yeah.
can definitely get a lot better. Like
Yeah.
I'm still. I rolled with one of our black belts. We came here, we rolled out the mats this morning, and I mean, he just beat the hell out of me for an hour for the most part.
Yep.
I mean, I was able to score a couple points on him at some point, but like, no, we're playing. This is something that Kyle will do sometimes. We'll play first to 5 points, and we'll start from like random positions. Like we started in smashed half guard, started in side control, started in rear mount, like just first to 5.
I like that. I've never thought about doing that. I actually like that a lot.
It's a fun way to play because like if you do just first score, like especially if you start from side control, like boom, you get to mount or you get knee on belly, it's over. But like it's always 2 scores. So it's like they got to score and score again.
Yeah.
And
like
it just
that.
makes it a fun game to play. And so we just set a timer for 45 minutes and we just did that for 45 minutes straight.
Yeah, I like that.
And it was fun. It's
Nice.
a fun game to play, but like, like a lot of my guard stuff is not really working on him, but like if I go against the other like purple belts or some brown belts or some blue belts, white belts, like I can hit that shit on, but not on him. So it just it's fun, man.
Yeah.
But you made a big leap from your corporate job into being a full-time instructor, like right before you had your son.
Yeah.
What was like the breaking point where you're like, fuck this, man. I'm out of here. I want to go do jiu-jitsu.
I had so many. There was so many.
And what were you?
So I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, but I worked at their corporate office. So I worked there before COVID. I had just gotten a promotion to be like one of the vice president's like assistants, and I loved it. He was a great guy. He wasn't like one of those like super rich like corporate assholes. Like he was actually like a very down to earth guy, and I saw there was like a lot of growth in the position, and I was like, oh man, I want to be here. And I was not even in that position for 2 months, and then COVID hit, and then I got the call like, hey, we got to lay you off. I'm like, well, shit. So then like eventually a buddy of mine got me a job doing like extended car warranties, and I freaking hated it. It was awful. Like all the jokes that people make about extended car warranties, they're for a reason. And so you feel like a piece of shit human at the end of the day. Well, the enterprise called me and they're like, hey, we have a position for you if you want to come back. This is what it is. And I'm like, well, that sounds pretty easy. Talk to the supervisors. And then when I actually got brought on, it was like nothing what they described. I'm sitting here doing like spreadsheets for like sales tax from different dealerships that they buy cars from. And it's all these different formulas. I'm like, I am lost. And then you have deadlines on it. And kind of the breaking point was like at my 1 year, they they came to me and basically said, you're being put on like a performance plan. And I'm like, oh, come on. And I'm like, why? And they said, well, there was 2 months where you missed your deadlines. And I go, okay, let's talk about those 2 months. What were they? And they said August and February. Well, August, me and my wife, we had a miscarriage. So I took a little bit of time off work. I'm stressed out. I'm super upset. And I said, well, I had a miscarriage in August. So that's why I missed some deadlines there. And I said, in February is a much shorter month. I'm like, so that's a lot harder there too. And they were like, okay, well, we're still going to put you on this. I'm like, oh, you. So I was like, whatever. That I was like, do that. So then that's kind of where my breaking point was. And then it just kind of, I felt like they were just kind of trying to push me out the door. And I was like, I need to do something. I just remember, because I work from home a lot of time, sitting there, like scrolling TikTok and watching these people just like live their dreams. And I'm like, why can't I do that, man? And I'm like, oh, I'm stuck financially. I have to pay bills. And I'm like, I mean, banging my head against the desk, like, why am I not living my dreams? And eventually, one of our purple belts at the time, I was talking to him because he did DoorDash, and I'm like, you don't make that much money. And he goes, no, I make like 500-600 bucks a week. And I'm like, that's really all I need for my bills right now because we didn't have a house of our own. We were basically staying like my wife's grandfather's old house that was passed down to us, so we didn't have a mortgage, which is nice. And so I was like, but I don't really have a car to do this in. So basically, we were saving for a house, and I asked my wife, I'm like, can we take our savings, which was like 5 grand, went and bought a car to DoorDash in, and then I quit my corporate job. And so I was like, and so it was not easy. The way I got into being an instructor out at Edwardsville was I knew I liked teaching classes. I'd filled in here and there. I was like, I really like doing this. This is a lot of fun. And I went to JW and I told him, I said, I think I want to teach classes, open up my own school one day. He goes, well, I don't have the time to teach it. He's a busy guy. And I knew this. And he goes, you have two options. You can go out to Phil out in Wentzville, or you can go out to with Joey in Edwardsville. And I was like, well, I'm probably a little bit closer with Joey than I am Phil. I'm close with both guys, but I was like, Joey is a very good businessman. He has his own chiropractic business. Like he's got a lot going on. Soon as I left the gym, got in the car, called him. I said, hey, JW told me to reach out to you. And he goes, yeah, I actually need somebody to teach my Monday fundamental classes. Would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So came out, taught the first one, and then I would teach day and night. And then he's like, hey, I need some help on Tuesdays. Come out there on Tuesday. So it started very slow and then gradually like kind of picked up to where like I'm getting more days, I'm teaching more classes, I'm doing more to help grow the school and then like getting paid more. And then it was a little bit better. And then it's like, I kind of launched it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, probably like I was thinking about, I was like, man, probably the best thing that ever happened was, as bad as it sounds was, I was door dashing one day and I got into a car accident while I was out dashing. And, I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I took the money I got from insurance, bought another car, but I still hated what I was doing. Like after a while, like at first it was easy, but then once the kid came, it was like, my wife's at home with him. Like I'm out on the road at nights and stuff like that. I was like, I can't be risking this anymore. And one of our blue belts came to me. He goes, if you could do any job, like what would you do? Like what are your skill set? I'm like, well, I'm good at customer service and I've done like a lot of like back website stuff. Well, he works for a comic book website called Cover Price. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
You just got smile.
no, I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know
Oh.
you. I feel like this is kind of going right up.
Yeah,
from
right
your
at the
question, right up your alley.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he was like, let me see what I can do for you. So like I interviewed with the company and basically what they are is like kind of like the Kelly Blue Book of comic books. So if you have a comic book collection and you want to know what it's worth, like that's what they do. And it's a subscription based website. So I just do a bunch of back end stuff for them, but they're like, as long as you're hitting like 25, 30 hours a week, like we don't care when you work. As long as you tell us when you're working, we don't care. And I'm like, that's perfect. So now I can work from home. I can watch my kid if I need to while working. And then just kind of went on from
whenever
there.
you're not doing that, you can go teach.
Yeah. And then, and it's like, I just tell them what days that I'm teaching and, they don't care. So it's like, I worked for a couple hours this morning and then came out here. They don't care. So that's kind of the nice thing is like, I have that very flexible schedule with them to where I'm not like, if I need to be home and, I need to work or something on the weekends, I can just pull up my laptop, sit in the living room and watch TV with my kids. No big deal.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm glad I was finally able to just chase my dream, and that it's like, I remember somebody said something to me when I quit my corporate job. They were like, well, don't you have a kid on the way? And I was like, yeah, but I would much rather struggle financially a little bit versus him seeing his dad pissed off and upset because he hates his job all the time.
Yes.
And that was the big thing for me. Yeah.
How does chasing leaving the corporate world and chasing your dream, how has that changed the meaning of success for you?
Oh man, yeah, I don't want to say like I've hit it because there's still more opportunities. Like I'm not like a full-time teacher. Like when we hit like a certain goal of students like at the gym is when like we discussed about me going more full-time, adding more classes. And then I think it's kind of that, I think success for me now looks like obviously raising my son. He loves coming to jujitsu. He loves going out on the mats. I can't wait for him to start next year.
How old is he?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, so like we start kids at 4. And so like he kind of grew out of his baby gi. It's like way too small for him now. And so I tried like an M quad 0 on him, but it was so big still. And he's like, "Dad, it's too big." And I'm like, "You're gonna grow into it, trust me." So I think like, but I don't want to like force him into jujitsu, but I think he's already kind of just finding it, just going with me. But like success for me is just watching the students win. Like I get more pride out of them coming up to me like, "Yeah, that move that you showed me worked in competition." Like, I'm good. I'm happy. Great. That's my job now, is to make sure that like to give them, tools to have success. Like I'm just a guide. Like whatever you guys want to do, I'm here to help you and, give you guidance and, have you not make my past mistakes and learn from my past mistakes. Yeah.
Great,
Awesome.
man. Well, kind of on that same note, well, has there been like, can you think of a moment like where, like a moment on the mats where you witness something like, not necessarily like someone, having this like epiphany moment, but like a point where you're like kind of like almost a transformational moment, like where someone came up to you and they're like, "Dude, what this was, like you showed me this because of this, and then I was able to do, and
Yeah.
this has also like changed my life because of jujitsu."
Yeah. Man, I get a lot of
That's
text
a tough
messages.
question.
Yeah. I will say like the day that I got my black belt was very emotional. I kind of knew it was coming because some people can't keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Like not directly but indirectly. But that day there was like 60 something people on the mat. It was all students. There's a lot of my friends that were there. But like Gracie Mat is very self-defense oriented. Now it's not like we're just shrimping up and down the mat and just doing self-defense. Like we obviously can compete with the best of them. But like me and JW had been working through our self-defense curriculum a lot. And so he basically pulled me out there and said, "All right, you like do the self-defense." Or like his wife Ann attacked me from the front, Dennis attacked me from the back, and then JW came out with a knife. Fake one. And so, but I got stabbed in the gut right off the bat. And then I was like, "Oh, I'm in a fight." And so went through the whole thing, and then he gave me my black belt at the end. So I had a lot of messages that day, and that night, and then in the next few days that were like, that was super inspiring to watch. That was super cool. Like I'm happy to learn from you. And I was like, and that meant a lot to me because now I have imposter syndrome. And the students are still looking up to me though, as like, "Hey, that was very inspirational. Like that was super cool." Yeah.
Great.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Wow. So how's having a kid changed your life?
Oh man.
'Cause I mean, I know with
Patience.
both of us being dads,
Yep.
we can definitely relate to that.
I think the biggest thing for me is like I have to be more patient. It's so tough. I mean, good example is like last Sunday. He's 3. They say that terrible twos, and I'm like,
Oh,
dude,
dude,
I'd
I got
rather
a
go.
three-nager at home.
Oh,
Yep,
the
I'd
worst.
rather go back to
We
the
were just
twos.
talking about that last night or
Yeah.
yesterday.
I'm like, I'd rather go back to the 2s to where he was cute, and now it's like just 3. He's just a terror, and I love him, but man, it's just like,
Some days are hard.
oh, dude, it was just like wasn't listening. Like my wife's yelling at him, I'm yelling at him. He's not listening. He doesn't care, and it's just like those are the days where you're just like, man, this is rough, And but at the end of the day, it's worth it because you definitely look at life in a different way of like, uh, I've got to be a better man for him. So like he teaches me, and I think all fathers say this. You guys could probably agree. Like your kids teach you patience, And so I definitely like, especially when I'm teaching kids, I've got to be patient because they're not my kid, and so and the parents are watching every little thing I do with them. So I try to, I definitely feel with the kids now that I've had a kid and like he's tested my patience. I'm more patient with other people's kids.
Totally.
To an extent, like I still have to, they're here for discipline. I have to do that. But like, but then at the same time, like we were talking about competing earlier, like he's watching me, he's watching everything I do. And I have to, make sure that, that, I make him proud, and that he sees me. My wife told me after the CXBJJ match to when Colin got his hand raised, he thought I won. And he's like, "Yay, daddy won." And my wife was like, "No, daddy didn't win, but he worked very hard and we're proud of him." And so when I walked up to him, to give him a hug. He was like, "You didn't win."
I know, dude.
That one hurt. That one hurt, buddy. And but he was still very like, he was like, "But I'm proud of you." And I was still like, "That one kind of hurt, bud." Like, I know, I tried though. Like, you get up there.
My son said,
Colin, come here.
I got somebody else for you.
Yeah, he's next. Yeah, my son literally said something very similar to me. Like the day before my match, and my wife's like, make sure and tell Daddy good luck. He's gonna go out and he's gonna win for you. And he's like, "You're gonna lose," and I'm like, "Dude, like,
no."
Yeah, my
like,
son's
go sit in the corner.
Yeah, hey, dude, go sit on the step. Yeah, we have the bad boy step at our house, the bottom step of the stairs.
That's funny.
He sits when he's in trouble.
That is.
Or when we're outside, it's the bad boy sewer. He's got to go sit on the sewer lid.
That's funny.
Like, no, he goes go to the sewer. You're gonna lose. I'm like,
how did you respond to that?
Like, oh, gee, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best not to.
Yeah, I go. I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yep. I won. Now what?
Fuck you. What do you know?
I won.
Yeah, it was definitely hurt, but like, he loved it. Like the day I got my black belt, like he kept taking it. Like he kept taking it and running around. He's like, "I'm black belt." I go, "No, you got to earn your black belt." I was like, "You don't just get it. You have to earn it." And that's a big thing too. Is like, I feel, and this probably, some people can agree with it, some people can't. Like, we give like participation trophies out way too easy nowadays, and I think it's a big topic that's out there, and it's like, I think that's why I love jiu-jitsu so much, is because you will never see a 8-year-old black belt. No, and it's like, if they're, and it's like, why? Well, let's talk about it. When people come to me like, "Oh, my cousin Johnny's black belt in karate," I'm like, come on, right? Like you really think that's going to protect him? To where it's like in jiu-jitsu. Even nowadays, like, you have an 8-year-old kid, let's say we give him a black belt, like, you're still gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can say you're a lot of things. And so we'll go on and step on that mat and we'll find out what you really are.
Yeah.
How about that guy that the last CXBJ that was 14 that took on the brown belt?
Man, Talon is a monster.
Holy shit.
Talon's a monster.
Have you trained with him before?
No, but man, I followed him like since he was a kid, because I used to ref for Fuji for like 7 years. And so like I have watched that kid compete up through Fuji, and just like everything he's done. I wanted to, but I was like, I'm gonna leave it alone. But I wanted to go up to his opponent and be like, "Don't take that kid lightly. He might be 14, but he's a fucking killer." But I didn't, because I was like, it's not my business. Like, I'm focusing on my own match. But like when I heard him win, I was like, kind of not surprised. Like, at all.
Mean, that like we were saying, it's kind of a lose-lose for the guy to take that match. It's like, if you beat him, you beat a 14-year-old. If he beats you, you got beat by a 14-year-old.
Yeah, and those are the situations that I don't like to ever put myself in. Is like, hey, your guy dropped out, but we got this like 14-year-old. I'm like, man, that's a fucking lose-lose for me. Like, and I get it. Like, the guy came up here from Springfield. Yeah. So what do? Like, you traveled up here, your opponent didn't show up, and you're like, I gotta compete.
Yeah,
like, I'm here.
I'm not gonna not compete.
Yeah, and it's like, I would have probably asked, like, do you have anybody else? Because that's a lose-lose. And like I've had teammates that have kind of been in the same situations, to where like they have to go against like a kid and then like lost against them. And I'm like, I wouldn't have done it. Like,
well, I guess my point, my rebuttal to that would be, we all know who he is, and he's like you said, he's a fucking killer.
Yeah.
So is it really a lose-lose?
For him, it might not be. On paper, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah,
on paper,
it's a lose-lose. Like, you, I mean, and the thing is, like, I don't know his opponent. Like, I had never heard of him until CXBJJ, but I know that he owns his own school, and that sucks to go back to, because now you got to tell your students, like, I lost to a 14-year-old. But
let's look at this 14-year-old. Right. This is what you guys should be striving to. Yeah. Like, this is what. Yeah. You guys want to be the best.
And we say 14, the kid's like 6'1", 220.
He's as big as I am.
He's a big boy.
I shook his hand afterwards. I'm 6'3". I'm standing there next to his dad the whole match. And his dad, he's like, yeah, he's 14. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That dude looks like that dude is a man. He is a man.
Yeah, going around to Greece and stuff, and winning MMA and
World ADCC Worlds.
Dude. Yeah.
But he's
kid's gonna go far.
Well, he's like, he doesn't train gi. He is strictly no gi.
Yeah, and his dad said to me, he's like, he's a gray belt. I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's because he hasn't trained the gi. Like, he might be on paper like a gray belt, but if he was in the gi, he'd be sitting there blue
all day.
Well, I guess
you can't be blue.
Can't be a blue, but he'd
be the highest.
Green and black is the highest that he would be. So he'd be green and black, and it's like, as soon as he turns 15, here's a blue belt.
Yeah,
have a nice.
And by the time he's 18, he's a black belt.
Yeah. So I mean,
especially when you've been training his whole life.
I think he said he started training when he was 3.
dude, long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude.
But I mean, that's the thing is like, even if you are that guy and you own a gym and you got kids that are coming to you,
Yeah. It's like try to be like this guy.
I was like, yeah, I lost to a 14-year-old, but let's put this match on. You tell me that guy looks like he's 14.
Yeah.
Let's look at his skills as a 14-year-old. You guys want to be the best, like you say, you want to train and be the best. Here's the best.
Yeah.
This is what you're.
Well, and that's the thing is
like
we have a lot of like teens that I teach on like Tuesdays that are 12 and 13. I'm like, you guys would get demolished by this 14-year-old, and you're only 2 years apart. It's like you got to kind of step up your training. You guys want to win. That's what you got to do. Is what it takes.
Well, yeah, it's just like at every belt level, there's different levels at that belt level. Like not every there's black belts, and then there's Mika Galval.
Yes.
There's not not all the same.
Yeah, I had the chance a few years ago when I was a brown belt to train with Tynan Dalpra.
Yeah.
Dude.
Wow.
We somehow got because I went down to, it was at Springfield BJJ. He was doing a 2-day seminar down there, and I went with Dennis, and somehow we got on the subject of weight. Dennis was calling me a fatty, and at the time I'm 180, and Tynan says, he goes, "Oh, you're middleweight?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "What's that supposed to mean?" And then so he was pairing everybody off to roll, and then he turns to me and goes, "You're with me," and I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh boy.
And so my wife was like 37 weeks pregnant, so I had my phone with me just in case, like, hey, we got to go.
Yeah. Making a 3-hour drive.
Yeah. So like, so Dennis is laughing his ass off. I throw him my phone. I'm like, record it. I'm like trying to tell him, like, record it. And then he's just laughing, being an idiot. And I'm still resenting him to that day for it. But like, I had never rolled with somebody like Tynan. Like, JW is great, and I would probably put them very close. Like, JW's older, where Tynan's like 20-something years old. But I felt like I was just rolling with a cloud. No matter what I tried to do, it was nothing. I couldn't do anything. And I remember being on my back. It's like sitting above me. I blinked, and then he was above me. And I'm like, get up there. I'm like, what just happened?
Just teleported.
Dude, it's what it felt like. And it was just like, I couldn't do anything. And I felt like a child. For a long time, I had a sweep called the Unstoppable Sweep. I don't know if you've ever seen it, heard of it. So I used to hit on everybody, and then I got bored of it, quit doing it. But I was like, I'm going to have to try it on a world champion. I got to see if it works. And I messed up a little detail that I know better. And I'm trying it. He kind of shifts his hips, posts with his opposite hand, and I'm looking at Dennis, and he's laughing at me because he knows it's my best sweep, and I can't even hit it. And Tynan kind of smiles and then passes my guard and then submits me. And afterwards, he's like, "Oh, is the Mike Fowler sweep? It's a good sweep." Shut up. You stopped it with ease.
It's a good sweep.
He's like, it's a good sweep. I'm like, shut up. You stopped it with ease, though. So that was the day where I was like, there's definitely levels to this. So, yeah.
I mean, there's blue belts out there that'll give black belts a hard time for sure.
100%.
I mean, there's a blue, he just got his purple belt, I think yesterday or the day before at Revive. He's been a blue belt for a very long time, but he gives everybody problems.
Yeah, and Nick Mateo was that way.
Yes, Mateo. I've trained with Mateo a lot.
Yeah, when he first came in, he was he might have Columbia guy. Then he was out in St. Louis doing
Wolves Den. He was there for a while.
He was there, but he was for his at the time his career. Oh my gosh. Hopefully he doesn't listen to me. Like, wow, you forgot my job.
He's a physical therapist.
Physical therapist. I kept in my head. I kept going PT. What does that stand for?
Yeah,
not personal trainer, physical therapist. And so he was training with us, and I was watching him roll with Eric from Revive.
Yeah,
he was Eric up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, is Eric playing around right now? And I couldn't tell, and I was like, interesting. So then I rolled with Nick the next day, and he gave me some problems, but I definitely rolled with him fine. But then time after that, I rolled with him, he beat the shit out of me, and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here? And that's when I knew the kid was special, because I was like, yeah, he's given upper belts that win world championships like hard times. So
yeah, he's on a different level. I mean, now he's training at one of the best gyms in the world.
Yeah,
and he's
makes
one
sense.
of their best guys.
Yeah, makes sense.
It seems he's right there, and
100%.
It's been super inspiring. I mean, the kid wins he just got third at ADCC, the East Coast Trials, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, dude, just a freak. And, I mean, dude, the dude is just genetically, like his legs are
you'd be sitting there like in like the chair sit position, and you would think like you could squat down and be fine, and then like just slowly his legs just lifting you up, and you're like, I shouldn't be getting lifted like this. I'm a grown ass man. Put me down. And so like you're just like, why am I getting lifted? Like, yeah, his butterfly game was so strong, and he found early on how to get to the back quickly, and that was his biggest success. Like if you got on your back, you're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah,
and
that was
trapping an arm. He's so good at trapping an arm,
and then you're just like, I'm slowly dead. Yeah.
It's been probably a year or two since I've rolled with him, but even when I trained with him, I mean, because we do this Saturday morning session. A buddy of ours, he has a roofing company, and like it's like right down the street from here actually.
Yep.
And it's he a few years ago, and honestly, we started training there during COVID. He just like matted out a whole corner, and
Nice.
that corner turned into like half the warehouse now. And so we can roll like 5-6 pairs in there like comfortably. Like it's like the size of a small school. And so we train there every Saturday morning. And so whenever he was in town, he came and trained at a couple of our sessions. And it's a tough room. Like it's like, it's purple, brown, black. There's a couple real tough blue belts that show up sometimes. But like he's there and he's just fucking everybody up. And I just remember like just looking over and I'm like, oh my God, he submitted him 3 times. Because it's like there's an odd number, you sit out and you're watching. I'm just every time I would sit out, I'm sitting there watching him. I'm like, holy shit, he just submitted him 3 times.
Yeah.
Like fuck.
Like what's happening?
I've never seen him.
He's a white belt. What's going on?
Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's just he's very gifted. Very gifted.
No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, man. He's very good.
Well, taking it back in the questionnaire, you mentioned how you lost your mom.
Yeah.
With you becoming a father without having your mom there. Yeah. And what ways did that help you define fatherhood for yourself?
Man, it's tough. I mean, I definitely went from like everything I did from being 16 on was like, trying to make my mom proud, be the man that she wants you to be. When she passed away, I knew that there was 2 paths I could take, that either one nobody would fault me for, which was like I could go down this path of just like alcohol and drugs and just be a burnout because you lost your mom in a tragic way, and nobody would probably fault you for it. But then the other path was like, no, you need to stay the path. You need to become a good man that she wants you to be, that she knows you can be. And that was the path that I took. And it wasn't easy. There was definitely times that depression kicks in hard. But so from then on, I was like, do everything for her. And then once I had a kid, I was like, you know what? That time in that chapter of my life is over. You've become the man that she would want you to be. Now it's time to be the man that your son needs you to be. And that's just different chapter in life, and that's okay. My 20s was, for her. Now my 30s and onward is for him. So I think that's, it taught me a lot. I've definitely over the last few years, had some anger moments of like going to her grave. Like, you should be here for him. You should see how cool your grandson is. But unfortunately I can't change anything. But at the same time, like, it made me realize like, hey, you be here for your kid the whole time. Until it's literally your time to go, you better be here the whole time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Beautiful, man. Well, do you think, kind of like, because right around 16, or when did you start with martial arts? You started like 18 and high school?
Yeah, 18. Yeah. After she passed, I had a friend live with me. Like my dad let him live with us because he was just not in a good situation. And he was kind of there to ground me, make sure that like I wasn't being stupid. And so there was a day like my ex-girlfriend had broken up with me, and like all these bad things were happening in school, and like me and him kind of got into it, and then he left the house, and I was like done. I was like, man, I don't even want to be on this earth anymore. I don't care. I have nothing left. So I texted, I was like, hey man, I was like, I'm done. Like, you don't have to worry about me anymore. And he knew what I meant. And next thing I know is I hear his car squeal into the driveway, and he runs in, tackles me. He's like, you're not fucking going anywhere. I was like, dude, I'm just done. I was like, I'm over it. I don't have my mom. I don't know where to go anymore. And I was at a low place when I was 16. He goes, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, man. He's like, do you want to go check out that martial arts, that MMA gym? And I was like, yeah. I was like, that'd be fun. Like, let's go do that. And that was kind of the day where I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to train jiu-jitsu. I want to train MMA and that. And then I remember that first session afterwards, I was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And that's the power that jiu-jitsu has, is people come in, they train, they're like, man, I feel better. Like all my problems just don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say you've used jiu-jitsu and just martial arts in general as kind of like a survival tool for your mental health?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, after CXBJJ, I had to have surgery, and kind of minor surgery, but I'm out for, over a month. And I can definitely tell not being able to roll or do anything affecting my mental health. Like we were talking about last Sunday, my kids being a terror. Usually I'm like, well, tomorrow I'll be at jiu-jitsu all day, and then I can choke somebody and I'll feel better. But knowing that I can't do that right now, I'm like, oh, this sucks. I can't do anything except sit and watch and point out what people are doing and stuff. And it's like, so yeah, I mean, you definitely feel like, we've all been there where we had to take time off. And when you're not training, you're like, dude, like,
I'm a different person.
I'm a different person. Like, I'm angry. I want to, but it is what it is, you know,
Yeah,
it happens.
it's
But yeah,
rare that
100%.
I go, even a few days like without training. And like either was last week was like I think I went like 4 or 5 days straight without training, and I was like,
Mm,
I started to like kind of feel it
yeah.
around day
So,
4 or day 5. I'm
yep.
like, I'm feeling a little irritable, and I don't know
Yeah.
why. I'm like,
Yep.
oh well, you haven't
You haven't
you haven't
trained. You haven't let
trained.
that outlet out.
I
Yeah.
haven't yeah, I haven't gotten to do any those in all those days. I didn't like work out or do anything, which is like for me very uncharacteristic. Even the
Yeah.
days that I don't train jujitsu, I'm going to do something hard. I'm
Yeah.
breaking a sweat somehow.
Right.
And yeah, and you just it's weird that how quickly that can creep in. And then you think about all the people that out there that don't do anything. You know,
Yeah.
they're not
Yep.
in, they don't do anything physical or exert themselves in any way.
Yep.
And I'm like, you guys just must feel like this way all the time. And I'm like, I don't know how you focus. I don't know how you get anything done. Like I feel
Yeah.
like as the more time that would pass where I wouldn't be training, I feel like that's only going to build and get
Yeah.
crazier.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I have to have that for me, just for
Yeah.
my mental health.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people will sit there and go like, "Oh, jujitsu is therapy." I'm like, "No, it's not. Therapy is therapy. Go to therapy if you need therapy. Jujitsu is not therapy. Now, it is a great outlet if you are feeling some pent up tension and you need to let it out in like a healthy way. Like for me, like I work out to keep my body strong, but to me, working out is boring. I don't like working out. I think it's boring. Um, but jujitsu is fun for me because I can tell like when I'm hitting a certain technique, and then it gives you that sense of like accomplishment, right?
Oh, it's like it's a sport.
Yeah, it's a sport, and we're competitive, and that's what it's there for. But people kind of get that misconstrued of like, I don't think jujitsu is therapy. I think it's a great outlet to if you're frustrated or you just need to go be with people. And the biggest thing I love about jujitsu, especially in today's society, is that like we spend so much time in front of a screen, if it's our phone or computer or TV, where jujitsu is just that time to where you're not on any screen and you are forced to conversate with people. So at any point, like I'm bad about checking my phone during classes, but it's usually to see like if like I'm needed or if if like whatever from like my wife, the babysitter, whatever, just to check and make sure. But when I see people just constantly on their phones on the mat, I'm like, put your damn phone away and just train, and that's it. So
Yeah, man. It's the only time where where I'm completely shut off from the rest of the world, and I'm
Yeah.
totally focused on what is in front of me.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that doesn't happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other cool thing about this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the only time where I'm not looking at my phone, especially because with our jobs, we're very
Always.
we're always on our phones.
Always.
Like I'm always on
Yes.
the phone, talking on the phone, texting
Yeah.
on the phone, emails. Like it's nonstop.
Yeah, in the last like 2 weeks, like I mean, with me being out, like that's all I've been doing is like TV, my looking at my computer screen for my job, playing on my phone at the same time. And then I started to realize that like without jujitsu, my brain is kind of like going 100 miles an hour, and I was like doing 80 different things at once, all on a screen. I was like looking something up. I'm watching TikTok. I'm on my computer. I'm watching something on the other computer screen. I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, whoa, slow down. What are you doing? I'm like, but I don't have that outlet right now to let my brain slow down a little bit. And that's kind of what sucks with, when you can't train.
So how's the recovery been? What'd you have done?
I'll talk about it. So it's, man, every time I say it, I've said it to people and they're like, what in the gay is that? And it's called anal fistula. And I hate whoever gave it that name because I'm like, why would you give it that? Basically what it is like, it's an infected, tunnel basically between your anus and the skin. And so I apparently have had it for a couple years now. I never really dealt with it, but there's like an abscess underneath, which was causing like a zit. So like that abscess drains into like the zit or the pimple, and it becomes very painful. And that was why I decided to have the surgeries, because like anytime I would do physical activity of like jujitsu, working out, disc golf, anything that would get the blood flowing, that abscess would then drain, and then it's like just a disgusting zit you have to pop.
Gross.
100%. So what they did was they go in there and they basically cut me open like a fillet. They try to clean it out, and they didn't even stitch it up because they still need that infection to drain. They basically just put gauze up there, smack me on the butt cheek and say, have a nice day. And so, yeah, so I went, so, it was like, that was, so it's like 4 to 6 weeks is what they say the, recovery time is. So it's like in the beginning, it was painful. Like all the cleaning of it was very like nauseating because I'm a squeamish person as is. But it's getting better. I mean, it is what it is. I tried to teach last night, and of course I'm teaching like sit-up guard. And I'm like, the fuck, like, why? But Joey was like, hey, I want to do some sit-up guard stuff. I'm like, fuck it, I'll show some sit-up guard. And it actually wasn't bad in the beginning. And then like I showed a couple things at the end. I felt some sharp pains, and I'm like, that wasn't good. Thankfully, like nothing was wrong, but it's just like I'm so ready for this thing just to be healed.
How many weeks out are you now?
So I had 2 weeks ago was the surgery to the day.
So you're 2 weeks in.
2 weeks
4
in.
to 6 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. And it's just, everyone's like, oh, it'll go fast. And you think, I mean, it's not. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like it's dragging by.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Especially being that type of injury. Like
it's such a, like, people are like, well, how do you get it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. It just happened. Like
I wiped too hard.
I don't know how it happened. I'm like the surgeon didn't tell me nothing. They're just like, it just happens. I think it comes from like a clogged gland. So like me doing DoorDash for so long and like sitting at a desk job, like sitting so much probably was part of it. And I don't want people like, I can't sit anymore. No, it's like, it's a common surgery apparently. And I was in and out within an hour, but yeah, it's definitely an invasive surgery. That's for sure.
I don't want anything up there.
No. And it's not fun. Yeah. But it'll get better. Then I won't have that pain anymore. And then it's like, I'm pretty much injury free. So that's the best.
Especially in our what we do, it's just like one little thing.
Yeah,
because I mean I've dealt with a handful of injuries, but I've only had one that required surgery.
That's good.
Yeah. So and I was training again 12 weeks later.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But,
12 weeks is a long time though.
Yeah, I messed my knee up, and that was what, 2 months ago. I was out for about a month.
Yeah,
and then just give me that good old peptide shot. Just keep injecting that shit right in my knee.
Yeah, it was last year. I tore my labrum in this shoulder, and that sucked. It just felt like all the time it was hanging off, and eventually I just went and got it looked at. And they're like, it's a small tear. I'm like, but it still hurts. So I did a lot of PT and then peptides as well, and that helped. Mm-hmm. Like now it's like it's good to go. It doesn't hurt at all.
It's crazy that's such the thing now. The peptides.
Yeah.
I mean what did you do? BPC 157.
Yeah. And
Wolverine gene.
Dude,
that's amazing.
And it's like, unfortunately, we don't know what the long-term effects of it are. Hopefully nothing, but I mean, it works. It definitely works. That's the
I feel like I've done worse things or put worse things in my body that I'm just like,
yeah,
fuck, something's going to kill me.
Yeah. I was like, hey, but like this shoulder would click a lot. Like after I did PT, like it kept clicking, and then I did a few shots of that, and then like clicking's gone, and it's like 100% again.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like, it's just so cool how far like medicine's come.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just that. I remember thinking like years ago, like, man, there should just be like something that you could inject in yourself to heal you. And it's like,
here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, we're there, just in the form of a needle if you don't like it. And it sucks because like some injuries, like where you have to put the needle, suck. Like thankfully my shoulder wasn't really a big deal. I just kind of put it right next to the injury. But like some people, I'm sure it's probably annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Luckily they're not like, at least the needles that I have are.
Yeah, those little itty bitty insulin syringes.
Yeah, so it's not. That's not bad at all. But like the testosterone shots.
Yeah, those are big boys. They're big boys. Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, this has been great having you in here, Chaz. I really enjoyed this. One thing we always try to, or what that Pat and I like to think about this show as is like kind of like a time capsule for, it's like, it would have been really cool for me to, obviously my dad's still around, but like it would have been cool to see what my dad was like in his, early 30s.
Sure.
Like, and that's kind of a cool thing that we've kind of done here for our kids. They've got, hundreds of hours of us at this point, talking. So, what I'd like to ask you is, if your son was to watch this in like 10, 15 years from now, is there, what's something you'd want to say to him?
Oh man. I think about that for a second.
Take a second.
Let's say, that even if I'm not here and for whatever reason, I love you. And, I know that you're going to be, probably a better man than I ever will be. Keep being the young, happy kid that you are, and don't let anything stray you from that. And chase your dreams, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because your dad did it, and I know that you can do it. And no matter what, I support you on it, and your mom will support you on it. So dream big and chase after it.
It's perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we do try to end the show the same way every time. So sure. I'm sure you've seen a couple of our episodes, so you may have knew that this one was coming.
Okay.
But before we get you out of here, we got one last question for you.
Play a little game. We call it the tombstone game.
Okay.
Here lies Chaz. What's it say on your tombstone?
Two deep ones back to back.
We asked the hard hitting ones at the end.
That's fine. Always took pride in what he did. Oh my gosh, I think about it. Always took pride in what he did. Always worked hard for his goals, and never looked back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
thanks again for coming in, man. It was really good, really good to get to know you. And I hope to get some training in with you sometime.
Yeah, no, I plan to come on down as soon as everything's all healed up. I told Colin that I would, and it's like I've got a few people that are like, "Hey, come hit our open mat." I'm like, "I will when everything's healed up."
Yeah,
so like as soon as I can, I plan to hit a few different gyms. So,
I love that.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, and thanks to everybody at home that watched or listened to this episode. If you could please hit that subscribe button for us, that would help us out a ton. Pat and I are trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of this year, so help us out. Hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with a friend, or if you want to really go the extra mile for us, share the episode on Facebook. We've realized that's the platform that whenever people share our episodes, it seems to do particularly well. So if you really want to help us out and you enjoyed the show, share it on Facebook. That would help us out a ton. Comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.